funeral director, embalmer, and also a lawyer. And I basically have created a company that works entirely in death care. So I get to work with funeral homes and cemeteries, crematories all over the country.
Wow, okay. So, Paul, what we wanted to do today at Parting Pro is really address like the top three questions that we've had. And just to be able to do that during such a busy time of year, we thank you for your time. So
Love
let's
it.
go ahead and dive right in, okay?
Yep, I can't wait to hear them.
All right. So I think to start off, there's really a lot of questions about can a funeral home offer different GPLs, different general price lists? What can you tell us about that?
The idea on the second price list has always been a confusing one, but for the most part, and I had a recent conversation with some of the folks at the FTC and also even in the seminar. And the idea is the FTC has always said that you can have a separate price list, prices to maybe a church or an organization, veterans. However, that would also apply if you wanted to have online. So I could have a set of prices for people that purchase everything online and a separate set of prices if they actually came to my facility and met with me in person. So maybe I offer, again, cremation, take for example. If you come in person and you do everything, it's, I don't know, $5,000. But if you do it online and everything's online, we only charge $2,500. That's okay, and you're allowed to do that so long as it's for two separate groups. The only recommendation that I would say if you're going to have two separate prices is make sure you reference on your price list that other prices may be available.
Okay, great recommendation there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So our second question, lots of buzz about digital signatures and if digital signatures are legal. What can you tell us about that?
So the easy answer is that under the federal law, and every state has adopted the Electronic Signatures Act, meaning that any electronic signature has the full weight and authority and is legally binding. Now, saying that, there's still some little caveats. So for the most part, it's absolutely fine and completely acceptable. But in the world of funeral and cremation, there are a couple outliers. For example, New York has a written provision. It says you still need the authorization form to be signed in person. So for the most part, any of your forms, you're going to be fine, unless you have a little twist. But it's where we're headed, and it's completely acceptable.
Okay. Good to get information on the outliers as well as kind of the new common standards. So thanks.
Yes.
Last question for today is digital forms. So what's going on with digital forms and are they legal?
Yeah, so again, it's another great question. And the digital forms, again, they're fine. What I find typically is the hang up on them. Most of our forms that are written, we write them to be in person. So we write them as if we're going to, you and I would communicate, and I'd say, see this, read it, and you'd sign it there. So digital forms themselves are fine. You just need to make sure the wording represents that they aren't in person. I'll give you a great example. Identification. A lot of people are trying to do electronic identification. So via email, so in our authorization forms, a lot of times the wording in the form might say, we have made visual identification at the funeral home, da da da. When in fact, maybe that isn't exactly how they did it. They in fact did it via the computer. And so it's fine. You just need to make sure that your forms represent the actual process that is contemplated. And then you're fine.
So kind of to that point, I think this is a great opportunity. You actually have packets of these forms, right? Can you tell us more about it?
I do. So this year, well, let me take a step back. Every year I do what's called my Coat Drive Fund. It's a nonprofit 501c3. And we started it years ago, and every year it's grown. And we try to raise money, and then we take the money we get and we buy brand new coats to distribute. So every year I get people that donate, and it's wonderful. The death care profession is amazing, but I haven't been able to really give them anything back. So I have people from Texas who say, well, why would I help a cold kid in Ohio? And I said, well, it makes sense. I mean, you could be nice, but if that isn't enough, what I did this year is I created 3 packets of forms, one for a funeral home, one for a cemetery, and one for a crematory. And in those packets are all of the, I'll say not just the basics, but even the specialty forms that you would need, and you may just, either you don't have it or you've never updated. For example, in cremation, there's a model authorization form, there's a refrigeration log, there's a receipt of human remains, receipt of cremated remains, there's recycling. So there's all these little forms that typically a business would need. And we put it together. I mean, we sell it for a $149 donation. Don't really sell it. It's a $149 donation. And the reason it's a donation is because, one, it's a nonprofit, so you get to write off the $149. And the whole $149 goes to our nonprofit, and that helps us buy about 5 brand new coats. They're about $30 each. So that's what we do.
So basically what you're saying is that this holiday season, funeral directors and owners can actually do something for good and also get something in return that will help their business.
Exactly. Trying to give and give.
That's super exciting, Paul. I love hearing about it. I don't think I have any other questions for you. You've been such a resource to be able to join us today and answer the top 3 that we've had. And I can't wait to do maybe round 2 with you at a future date.
I would love to participate. Thanks for thinking of me, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time, Paul.
All right. Thanks again. Bye.
Thanks.